Hey, welcome to Just Get It In. We're going to focus on lengthening the quads in a flow-based context, but also in one or two of the postures that really target stretching your quads out. We're going to ask them to work in their lengthened position. So in simple terms, more kind of active stretching. Okay, but very much a kind of yoga dynamic. Starting downward facing dog, take a couple of moments there. Have some space to do whatever it is you want to do. Maybe you're straightening one leg, bending the other. You could be short into your down dog and getting into the calves. You might be long in the down dog, getting into your shoulders. Or you find a way of just lengthening your spine. Good. Take one or two breaths there. You don't want to be collapsing forwards and down into the shoulders. You want to be making sure you're lifting up and back as much as you're pushing the floor away. Good, particularly if you're kind of finding that static position. Another breath there. And then rock forwards to plank. And then come all the way down to the floor. Come into Sphinx. There'll be some back bending in this. We're kind of building up to one or two postures that need spinal extension. You'll get some length through the front of your shoulders to really help us target those quads in a lengthened position. Good. Take a breath or two in Sphinx. Forearms are down. The chest is pulling forwards and up. In any of these back bends, really Sphinx, up dog, cobra, locust to some degree, you want that upper body shifting forwards and up, not shifting back and up. You want the lower body and upper body to have a relationship where they're moving away from each other. Good. Take a breath more there. And then slowly release that. Just step back into tabletop and then right foot forwards. And then wiggle the right leg a bit straighter. Fingers are down. Drive the right heel into the floor and straighten the right leg. Now, you are targeting stretching your hamstrings out. Now, you can bend the front knee and straighten the front knee a few times. But I find with men, if they're going to stretch the quads, if they haven't stretched the hamstrings first, the hamstrings usually cramp up the moment that knee bends and that leg goes back behind you and the hip into extension. So just lengthen your hamstrings out before you stretch your quads out. Good. Come out of that, just simply switch legs. Come into this half split position. Good. And again, dig the heel down, and you can be static and you can just keep the legs straightish, or you can be a bit more dynamic and fluid and re-bend and re-straighten the front leg a few times. Good. Take a breath or so as you do that. Good. Shift back into downward facing dog. And then go left knee down, right foot forwards. Simple low lunge. Move the bum backwards, tilt the front of your hips upwards and really press down with the back shin and really firm your left glutes. Then take that left hip forwards a bit and back. You're not looking for really excess disengaged movement. I'd rather you move less and work harder. Good. In this particular moment. Good. Stay there. Take a breath or two as you move. It's not difficult to action all those instructions. It's difficult to keep doing it. It's difficult to keep engaging your left glutes throughout. Pressing the back foot down. Another breath. Good. Release that. Step back into downward facing dog. If you're unsure on where you need to be for down dog, for most people, if they come forwards to plank, and you can do that right now and sort your plank out, don't move your hands and feet. Simply draw the groins or the bum up and back into downward facing dog. Right knee down, left foot forwards. And again, you're starting with the hips back above the back knee. You curl the front of the hips up so you tip your pelvis backwards. The right glute switches on, the right shin or foot presses down into the floor, and you glide that right front of hip, top of your right quads, somewhat a bit forward, somewhat a bit back. Good. And again, you're increasing tension by the work of the leg. Those engagement of those right glutes. Good, and then when you're ready, step back into downward facing dog. Head forwards to plank again. And then come all the way down into Sphinx. Take a breath in Sphinx. And then just bind the hands together. Press the forearms down, and I just want you to take your breastbone down towards the floor and then relift. Down towards the floor and relift. So even though you're in spinal extension, you're in a back bend, your shoulder blades are moving together and they're moving apart. That's all I want you to focus on. For 3, 2, and 1. Back into down dog. Take a brief breath there. Brief breath. That is not easy to say. Left knee down, right foot forwards. Slightly different on this low lunge. You are bringing your hips a little forwards and down. Wiggle that front foot fraction more forwards. Take the forearms onto the back. Press the forearms into the back. Lift and broaden the chest. Look forwards. Now, with your back foot and your front foot, press down and try and pull them together. Good. For 3. Keep breathing for 2. For 1. Then interlace your fingers behind you. Bend your elbows and move your shoulder blades together. You just felt what that felt like a moment ago. Reach back, lift the chest. Good. Stay there, take a breath. The legs might be still working, they might not be. And then exhale, downward facing dog. The target right there was the front of the shoulders. Good. Stay there, take a breath in, down dog. And then shift forwards to plank whenever you're ready. Come all the way down. You're coming into locust pose. Tops of feet to the floor as always. Reach the arms back, palms facing down. Lift the head and chest. Lift the back of the arms and then lift from the middle of the hamstrings up the legs. Good. Shoulder blades, try and draw them a little bit together and down your back. Create some tension through those spinal extensors. Nice. Breathe out, release that. Back into down dog. As you breathe out, right knee down, left foot forwards. And again, front foot a bit more forwards, hips a little bit more forwards and down. Forearms onto the back, press them into the back, lift and broaden the chest, widen the collarbones. And again, as you look forward, steady breathing, the front foot presses down and pulls back, the back foot, the back knee presses down, pulls forwards. And as you do that, you can feel those right quads engage. Another breath there. Same thing. Target the shoulders, do or don't work the legs, it's up to you. Interlace the fingers. As you bend those elbows, you give yourself space to squeeze and retract those shoulder blades together. Arms back, chest up, and maybe hips slightly more forwards. Another breath there. Breathe out, release that. Come back into downward facing dog. Head forwards to plank. Lower all the way down to the floor. And then you lie on your right side of your body. You support your head in space. If you struggle to balance with the legs stacked, you bend your bottom leg a bit. That left knee pulls up. Visually, I'll be doing the opposite of you. Okay? Left hand outside the left ankle. So the left knee pulls up in front. Left hand outside left ankle. Get a good grip. Flex your left foot and then move that left leg behind you. You might slide the hand down to the outer foot. Good. Depending what your hip does for you, the leg might be a little bit more upwards, but maybe you're trying to get that leg, that upper leg knee roughly in line with the hip. So to really stretch the quads out, 2 things have got to happen. You've got to bend your knee sufficiently, and that leg has got to go backwards. That hip has got to go into extension. Good. You're fairly passive here. You're not pressing the foot back into the hand. Your left shoulder blade is coming downwards in towards the spine. You take a breath there. Good. Slowly release that. And then you head back up to table. We're going to continue on the same side. So in tabletop, you keep your right knee roughly where it is and you just tap your right foot bit out to the right. Your right hand shifts a little forwards and you turn your right bicep more in line with your right thumb. Step the left leg back, so you're in this modified side plank. And then lift the left leg up, pull the left knee in front of you again. Left hand reaches down, grabs the outer shin, ankle, foot. And you just do what you've just done on your side. The only thing that changes here is the bottom side of the body, the platform to which the body is supported on. Good. Chest is broad, heel is towards middle of glute, ideally rather than outer hip. Middle of those left thigh muscles, just inch them back a bit. Another breath there. Good, slowly release that. Step back into downward facing dog. Nice, pausing down dog, you'll notice a completely different experience and sensation and sensory awareness of how the legs feel right now in down dog. Nice, head forwards to plank, lower down to the floor. And then you just roll to the outside of the left body, support the head in space. I shall do it from this position, so I'm facing the back of you. Right leg pulls up in front, right hand catches the outside of the right foot, right leg moves back behind you, the heel is towards the glute, the middle of the right thigh works backwards, the right shoulder blade draws downwards. Good, you stay there, you take a couple of breaths. And again, struggling to balance, you bend that left leg, the bottom leg. Exhale, release that. Come out, tabletop, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And if you were struggling with what you were doing on the first side with this little adjustment, you tap the left foot bit to the left. So you're internally rotating that left upper leg. Left hand sneaks a fraction forwards. The bicep rotates slightly forwards. Try not to do it all the way. Hyperextend your elbow. Good. Right leg steps back. Right leg lifts up. The head and chest is turned to the right. Bend the right leg in front of you. Right hand reaches back, catches the outer shin, ankle or foot. Foot is flexed. The leg and arm go behind you. Chest is broad. Good. Stay there, 2 more breaths. If you've got a little bit more inside, if you've got a little bit more length to gain, middle of the right quad, go back. Good. Breathe out, slowly release that. We'll just build on this. Reverse Nordics, you could call them camel hingebacks. So you're standing on your shins, your knees are under your hips, tops of feet firmly to the floor. And like we've done in these low lunges a little bit ago, curl the front of your hips up towards your belly. Really firm the base of the glutes, top of the hamstrings. With the shins and feet, press firmly down. Keep that. Keep the ribs in. And you head backwards. The knees effectively bend. You try not to do a back bend and lean back. Just move that whole upper body and upper legs, glutes back. Good. Really press down with the shins. You can feel that get right to the quads. We'll do a couple more rounds. Go forwards. When you're ready, ribs in. Glutes on, shins pressed down, hinge back. Come all the way back up. And again, you can do as many of these as you want. You could even do these in isolation. Same thing for 3, 2, 1. Good. Come all the way out. And then just take a very brief child's pose. And then in however you are in your child's pose, just slow your breathing down. Breathe into the back ribs. Take a breath or 2 there. As you exhale, come all the way up, lay on your front. We'll come into bow pose, and there's a couple of ways to really do this posture. I've worked with countless men. Some are unable to reach back and grab their feet. Some are able to get one and not the other. So we'll work on the basis that you can do both, and if you can't, you can't. Just maybe do one, then the other. Okay, so lay on your front, bend your knees, and then just lift the knees up and wiggle them back. Reach back with your hands, thumbs facing down, catch the outside of those ankles, feet. Now I'm not going to get you to lift the knees and shoulders straight up. That's probably going to take too many of us into our lower backs. I want you to lift the chest up and forwards. I want you to press the shins, the knees backwards. So yeah, you're lifting a bit of the thighs, but you're not trying to kick up and back as much as you can. The shoulder blades are drawing together like you did in that locust earlier. Good. But right now I want you to press back with those front of ankles, shins, and resist with the arms. Feel like you're about to bend your elbows. So those quads are working in their lengthened position. And then breathe out, release that. A very brief cat pose round the back from tabletop, chin to chest. And then lay on your back and just do one hamstring stretch each leg. There's countless ones you can do, but take a breath or two. Right leg up, hold the back of the right thigh, if that's where you're going with it. Release that and switch. Good. Knees to chest, rock up. Well done. Great session. I'll see you again for another one very soon.